It was supposed to be a peaceful morning hike. Sarah Blake kissed her husband goodbye, put on her boots, and headed into the fog-covered hills of Vermont. At 8:06 a.m., she texted a selfie from the summit. At 8:27, her phone went dark. No one ever saw her again. What happened in those missing 21 minutes would unravel the lives of everyone who loved her and reveal secrets no one was ready to face. Sarah Blake was 29, a middle school art teacher, laughed with her whole face, cried during animal rescue commercials. She had married Noah Blake just 11 months before her disappearance, a quiet man, local bookstore owner. Together, they had just bought a cottage near Green Hollow Trail, surrounded by miles of peaceful forest. She was the kind of woman people felt safe around, but even people like Sarah disappear. On April 9, 2024, Sarah left the house just after 7:30 a.m. with a backpack, thermos, and sketch pad. Hiking solo wasn't new to her. She loved the quiet, said it cleared her mind. Her last known photo was a summit selfie, time-stamped 8:06 a.m. She smiled into the morning mist, her cheeks red from the cold. Then, silence. By 12:15 p.m., when Sarah hadn't returned, Noah drove to the trailhead. Her car was still parked, unlocked. Inside, her sketch pad, open to a half-finished drawing of a girl, standing at the edge of a cliff. He tried calling. He hiked part of the trail himself, shouting her name until the sun began to fall. At 4:48 p.m., he called 911. "My wife's missing. She's out there somewhere. Please, please find her." The next 24 hours brought rescue teams, dogs, drones. No signs, no clothing, no backpack, no blood. Nothing but fog and pine needles. Her family flew in from Michigan. Her sister Rachel collapsed when she saw Sarah's boots still sitting by the fireplace, untouched. She would never run away. She always said, "If something ever happened to me, don't stop." Detectives interviewed Noah first. He was cooperative, broken, but something felt off. He admitted they'd argued the night before. Sarah had been distracted lately. Distant, he said, like she was hiding something. Her phone records revealed a number she'd been calling repeatedly. Someone named AB in her contacts. It wasn't family, it wasn't a student. When traced, it led to Anna Burke, Sarah's former high school friend. A name Sarah hadn't mentioned in years. Anna told police, "We used to be close, but after what happened back in college, she cut me off." She wouldn't say more, but one thing was clear. Sarah was digging up something from the past, and she'd vanished right in the middle of it. Then, a twist. On day 4 of the search, a hiker found Sarah's thermos. It was placed carefully on a boulder, 11 miles from where she was last seen. Police believed someone moved it and wanted it found. Searchers returned to the area where the thermos was found. In a shallow rock crevice, they discovered strands of Sarah's hair and blood, but there was more. Buried beneath the pine needles was a small hand-drawn card, a child's drawing of a house with a figure in the window. It was signed SB, age 7. Sarah had drawn it as a child, but how did it end up in the woods, and who wanted her past to stay buried? A blood-stained thermos, a childhood drawing buried deep in the forest, and a friend who wouldn't speak about the past. Sarah Blake had been missing for 5 days. And the deeper police dug, the more they realized this wasn't just a disappearance. This was a story that began long before she walked into the fog. What was Sarah hiding, and who had been hiding it with her? Detectives were stunned by the child's drawing found near Sarah's blood. It was old, at least 2 decades. The signature said SB, and it matched a series of drawings Sarah's mother had donated years ago to an art therapy program. But how had one ended up hidden 11 miles into the forest? Sarah's mother was contacted. When shown the photo, her hands trembled. She whispered, "She used to draw that house after it happened." "What happened?" the detective asked. Her mother broke down. When Sarah was 7, something happened at her babysitter's house. She stopped talking for a year. We thought she forgot, but maybe she never did. The babysitter's name? Mark Delaney. He was 17 at the time. His family lived just 5 blocks away. The police had no record of any reports. But Anna Burke, Sarah's old friend, finally opened up. "Sarah told me about it in college. She said she remembered everything. She was going to confront him, and I begged her not to. I was afraid he had hurt her." Anna said Sarah reached out just 2 weeks before her disappearance, told her she was going back to Ashwood to finish something. Detectives pulled Delaney's name from Old Town records. Now in his 40s, he lived 12 miles east of the trailhead. He owned a cabin, isolated, off-grid. Surveillance wasn't possible. Search teams were deployed, quietly, cautiously. On April 17th, 8 days after Sarah vanished, police searched Mark Delaney's cabin. He was calm, cooperative, said he hadn't seen Sarah in 20 years. But inside, they found Sarah's phone, hidden beneath floorboards, wrapped in aluminum foil. He was arrested immediately. The next day, during questioning, he said only one thing: "I didn't mean for it to go that far." A warrant was issued to search the basement of his second property, a hunting lodge near Fog Hollow Creek. What they found would haunt investigators for the rest of their lives. A hidden room, soundproof, no windows. A mattress, a chain bolted to the wall. And on the floor, Sarah's scarf. Sarah had been there. Days, cold, hungry, alone. But something unexpected had happened. The final clue was a diary, her diary, from the days she was held. In it, her handwriting was shaky, but defiant. She wrote, "I remember his face. I remember the blue carpet. I was 7. He said no one would believe me then, but they will now. If I don't make it out, tell Emma I forgive her for leaving. Tell Noah, he deserves someone whole." And then, one final line, "I see light coming through the crack again. Maybe today's the day." On April 18th, at 4:22 a.m., police broke down the basement wall and found Sarah, barely conscious, dehydrated, but alive. She cried when she saw the flashlight beams. She whispered, "You came." Noah collapsed when he saw her in the hospital. She was pale, weak, but the moment he touched her hand, she said, "I didn't want you to see me like this, but I'm still me, just broken in a few more places." But there was more. In her recovery, Sarah revealed something she hadn't told anyone, not even Anna. Mark Delaney hadn't acted alone. The one who helped lure her that morning was someone she trusted, someone who had always believed her pain made her unstable, someone who believed silence was better than scandal. It was her aunt, the very woman who had once brushed off her childhood story as fantasy. She had lured Sarah under the pretense of talking about healing and handed her over. Both were charged. Sarah's story hit national headlines. She chose not to give interviews. A year later, Sarah still sleeps with the light on, still jumps at closed doors, still cries in her sleep, but she's painting again. Her new series, The Things We Bury, dozens of haunting watercolors, each showing a piece of her life hidden under soil, fog, and silence. In an interview with a local gallery, she said, "Some people say survivors are strong. I'm not. I'm scared every day. But I survived anyway. That's enough for now." If you know someone who's gone missing, don't give up. Don't let silence become normal. And if you're surviving something terrible, you're already doing the impossible. Like, share, subscribe, keep their stories alive.